the woman was simply sleeping in the lab when the newly hired security guard kicked over her chair. Before she could react, he scolded her for sleeping during work hours and even blamed her for the company's poor performance. But the woman calmly reminded him that this was a restricted lab and security personnel were not allowed in without permission. Instead of leaving, the guard called in a few of his co-workers and blocked the lab entrance. His arrogance came from the fact that he was the boss's father. Not wanting to stay in the nursing home, he insisted on being placed in the company. The boss, wanting to keep him occupied, assigned him to security. Yet on his very first day, he barged into a restricted area and harassed the company's top research expert. At the time, the woman was in the final stretch of a critical drug development project, working around the clock to help the company go public through the new medication. Her assistant, worried she'd collapse from exhaustion, went out to buy her some medicine, only to be harassed by the same guard. When she threatened to report him, he slapped her across the face and arrogantly declared he was the boss's father, saying no one needed the boss to handle a mere employee. He pinned her down, intending to teach her a lesson. Just then, other lab staff rushed in after hearing the noise. Seeing the woman being assaulted, they stepped in to protect her, but the guard was furious that regular employees would dare defy him, so he threatened to fire the woman on the spot. The staff fired back in outrage, warning him that she was the company's most valuable expert, and if she left, the entire company would be in jeopardy. But the guard didn't care. At that moment, he received a call from the boss, who specifically instructed him not to interfere with a key researcher. But before he could finish, the guard hung up, thinking he was doing the company a favor. What he didn't realize was that he had just pushed the company toward disaster. The boss still assumed his father was just chatting with security staff or napping at the gate, never imagining he'd cause real trouble. But back in the lab, the guard insisted on kicking the woman out. When the rest of the team saw her being dismissed, they immediately said they would leave with her. Enraged, the guard accused her of trying to win over the staff and to scare the others. He decided to drag one employee forward and beat them publicly. As the employees tried to resist, the guard shouted this was his turf, and he could do whatever he wanted. In his rage, he accidentally pressed the red emergency button. The entire lab went into lockdown, and toxic chlorine gas began to leak. Hearing this, the boss rushed back to the company. Inside, the woman knew exactly how dangerous the gas was, but also knew the lab stored the results of her team's years of research. If contaminated, everything would be lost. Without hesitation, she put on a hazmat suit and ran in. The staff begged her to think of her own safety, but the guard standing nearby just smiled with a strange and twisted look on his face.